Welcome to Object-Oriented Game Design, and welcome back to Game Design Part 7. Uh, as you can see, I've set up a new project and I've copied the packages in, ready to start, but I've changed the name or the name convention on the frame class. I'm not going to put a number at the end of it there, and you'll see why. Or you've seen why in the past, in fact, with all the problems with Game Design 5 and such. Uh, it's just too much work to keep having to change things. So if we call it Game Design from this point on, our frame class, it should save all this messing about at the start. Okay, so we're on our enemy class yesterday and we created sound. We got a problem with our screen class with the render, and I'm hoping to fix that today. We've done a lot of work on level, excuse me. In the background of this, I have, if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Great. I think I closed it by accident. It will open up when it gets on. Sometime today. Yeah. It's still not open. Alright. So over to Photoshop. I've taken the sprites out of the planes and the sources sprite repository, you could call it, and I've thrown them into a 128 as we did with the invader and the other invader. Ready for animating, which will look really cool when it's done. I've added in the crop duster plane, and that's got an animation on it as well, if I can find it. There we go with that one. Left and right, I'll add some more animation, but just the propeller for now on that. In addition, I've done the grass islands and the clouds as separate layers. Just the waves to figure out now what we're going to do and how we're going to do them. Then I need to move the powers into the 128 as well, set them up. But for now, we've got a new crop duster plane that needs putting in, and a second image for the animation that we're going to set up for that. Alright, back to this problem. We started off with our first 4 objects, and that's about the complexity of the first couple of hours of this system. Creating the frame class, game design 1, and then moving on to the game object, which is extending canvas, and the status bar, which is extending JLabel, and the main menu, which is extending J menu bar. Yeah. From there we moved on. In fact, the class diagram for that shows a lot more detail. The get status and set status, title version, get main height, set main height. With the get main height, set main height, that's setting up the frame. That's setting up the frame, but this game uses the same get main height and set main and get main width, but it has to add an additional, I think it's 20 pixels onto the width. Instead of doing that, we can have a get game width and a get game height, which will employ these modules in game design, but they will add uh, the additionals to it where needed, which might make more sense. Putting a get game height, get game width in game, and then nobody has to access these wrong values or these frame only values. Alright, moving on. We then went to add a few more objects or number of classes, knocks, and then we was up to 4, 8 on the second round of code. And things were getting a little more detailed from the initial 4. We were starting to add in key and mask input and starting to think about graphics with the texture and the render. Just expanding the system from the frame class outwards. Getting slightly more complex, and if we look at the detail of those classes, they'd barely fit on the page if you had the detail. But yeah, game design, one class here is a frame class with all those methods and responsibilities. And then our game class, which we've extended tremendously since then, with all its runnables and run methods, rendering and that sort of thing. And I didn't add any further to that, but yeah, the system was slowly getting more complex and the models were getting more detailed at that point. We then moved on to a few more objects. Where did we go? No, just the one player at that point. Round 3, you would call it. And then we started extending the game logic to include a player. This was before we set up a level, which later took over the player class responsibility sort of thing. Instead of the game class creating the player, we had the level class creating the player for the player object in game, player variable in game, link in game. So slowly getting more complex there with the 4, 9 number of classes, knocks. And again, if we look at the detail on that, it starts getting even more complex. And the number of lines of code is starting to get to a point where really one man should not be able to maintain such amount of code, but I can. But yeah, it really is getting that complex at this point. What are we on? We're still on the 9 here. 3, 5, 9, 10. Is that 10? Did I miscount? 4, 5, yeah, it was 10. And 10 classes on round 3 from our initial 4. Okay, moving on. And our object diagram on round 4, we had an additional class called menu, so we're up to number of classes or knocks, 11 at that point. We didn't add too many more lines of code, I remember, or if we did, we just put them in the classes that existed already. And the class diagram is now having to be zoomed to 60% because it is that much more detail in there. I've added the render variables and modules at that point. I've made a little start on texture. Still got mouse and keyboard input to do. Done the player. Added all the detail to that with the get lines, set player name and that. Yeah, think that's all I did there, but what are we up to there? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 still, yeah. I didn't do any class diagrams for 4, for 5, completely skipped that then. So just done number 6, and we're now up to that many classes. Here we go, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and number 4, 14 on the Nox. So our level of complexity as far as number of classes is 14. And adding detail to that with the class diagram, we get a 50% zoom. And we've added the enemy at this point. And the level is taken over the player, and we'll create the level class. And I've done some more on the sound that was created earlier, but sound is referenced in level. Not sure if it's commented out at this point, but obviously we'll be using it. In fact, I think it isn't commented out because the constructor in sound is not really trying to access the files at the moment. It's still blank. So we can do that. We can access the sound because the constructor is blank without getting any errors. But as you can see, it's getting more and more complex just from this very small basic game, Y scroller. And speaking of the Y scroll, we have problems at the moment with maintenance and complexity of the code. We've also got a scarce resource in Java Virtual Machine, which is set to 256 megabytes. And because we're putting these large images in, I can find them. No idea where they are. Level background. Because we're putting these large images into that 256 megabyte and drawing out every single pixel in this image, including the alpha, or at least we're not drawing the alpha out. We are actually having to reference through it though, which is slowing our system down a lot. That's why we dropped down to the 20 frames a second. And if I don't use these long images, or as many as I can, the frame rate will climb back up. So these need to be put in single images, and that's why I've set them up in there with the islands. But we are going to have to create a clouds class and an island class, and set them up for each level. It probably in a similar way to the invaders. But yeah, what else did we do? Also continued on with the mind map. We had from game design 2, where we was setting out the resource and architecture types of development we're using. I've not done an update on this since then, but game design 6, based on the last project, we added level resources because we added all those images to deal with the level background and the sky and the architecture. We've added the audio, but we've also added some level data, and that is in the what do you call it, the guise of a player and an enemy. They're going to be file rows in the level data, and much of the level data will rely on what these two entities are doing. In the code we use, I've extended this here to just show whose code we're actually using. A lot of it, will be mine. I will create on the fly, but the backbone of this code is these three authors, or these three coders here. So if you know any of these off YouTube or any of their videos, you probably see some of this code on there. UML modeling, we're using class diagrams and object diagrams at the moment, and case tools. We're currently using code comments, which is a case tool, but we're also going to employ Java docs uh, at a later date as well when I can be bothered to generate them. But these will outline all the comments that we've already put in as part of the case tools. If you're not sure what case tools is, then just Google that. Anyway, back to the code, if my computer will let me. So this is the new project anyway. I'm just going to go in and set these all up, but first I want to make sure I start with all these closed. And I've still got the resources to hand them. So sound, we didn't change anything in there, did we? We don't need to change anything. Enemy, we're going to be working on that. So screen is package 7 for game. And that's done. And same reference throughout. That's 7, but it's also game design. And that class will have to remain open because that's going to be using the get main width, get main height, I believe. Key input game. Oh, wrong key. Anymore. I think this must be using get main height. No, player tip. Oh, we still got a fixed player to get that right. And maybe in the main menu as well. Level. Alright, 2 wrong references. That's 7. That's 7. And that's just game design. So that needs fixing. That's 7. I think that's done. And game doesn't have reference to game, so it's the game design 5 here. It's going to be alright. I think this is a good opportunity as ever to fix that. Just check player out. I think player's got the same problem, or one of them. 7 game 7 game design. Okay, save. So you still got problems. Remember, don't forget those problems. Alright. Doesn't seem to think it's got a problem. I know it has. We have get main width in game design. Oh, we'll have when I copy the code over. Let's do that now. Save messing about. Game design 5, which is actually 6. That'd be attributes. And everything else. Copy. And go to game design. Paste. Yep. Import all of those. Save. Game design 5 down there is wrong. That's cool. Alright, let's get rid of that. That'll be GD7 anyway. These are just game design and game design. Save. What next? got a problem at the top. Yeah, and probably further up too. No, I think that might be it. We got a reference here to something that's broke. Not as many maybe, but because we got a reference here to something it doesn't understand, then that's wrong. 7. Alright, we didn't use game design 5 then, is that? We've used it previously, so we can get rid of that. Save. What's that telling me? Unused import? No, it's not. Alright, so as I was saying, in the game, we're using this game design 5, get main width, get main height. So what we should really be using in this screen bit here, in the game class, we should have a get game height, get game width. So I want to create a class game design file. Okay. You're gonna create it for me, or you're gonna tell me I can't have that? No, it's gonna be funny. Okay. So still at the bottom before lose game, and we've got a copy in there. Do the width first. Space line, no, I don't want that. Do the same with the height. No. Alright, these are gonna be this piece of code here somewhere. Get main width, copy. Don't need that check. Just need to file off and change that to game design. Substituting the responsibility in game. We could always add the additionals here, but we'll see how it works out. So that's game width sorted. Now we need the game height. Game design, get main height. And these should be get game height. Okay, now we'll just get everything beneath the game in the architecture. So game's parent and the architecture is game design. So everything below game level player won't use get main width or get main height. It will use get game height, and it will do it like that. Save the confusing name convention that I've created here. So these are going to be changing to that in here, and that'll solve that problem in game. But then in level we've got the same issue. Quite a few of these issues over soon. Yeah. So level is beneath game, so we can use game and get game height. Alright. And because that is used a few times here, we'll just do this and copy it down. Copy it down. Gotta come back for the width as well, but just do the height for now. That's width. It's height. It's height. It's height. That's height. We have created quite a bit now. Trying to think if we want to make a variable out of it. Let's do in game instead of calling it every time. Just have one variable at the top. How do we create a game? No, I mean a level even. Let's do it in a constructor. We're gonna have some variables in the level constructor. We're gonna have an int for the width, int for the height, oops, and we're gonna have an int for the length at the level. As well as the level number. We could add name to that list as well, but we'll leave it at that for now. The width and the height, we're gonna have in there. We could actually use the this there, I think. Yeah, and we use the same convention for the others. But I'm not going to plug in the length at this point, so I'm not going to use that yet. Level length, not even going to create it yet. But the width and the height we can pass through in game when we create the level, using it only once, and then create a few variables that we can use now. This is high, isn't it? And then we can go level width and level height and not get confused. Confusion is the worst thing. Alright, so we need to create a few more variables here. And we've not employed level length yet, but we have added it to constructor. So I'll add these parameter tags. pitch, length. Alright, and create level width. Create level height. And everywhere we need this get main width in here, we'll just replace it with this. Alright, so get game height. I think I've got width under the paste at the moment. I have. Paste. Width again. Width again. Height, height. Width. Width. Quite a few of these that makes sense to make a variable and just keep using the same variable instead of keep calling the methods over and over again. It's poor. They offer poor performance really. It's a bit like creating a new object every time. We're doing it so many times, not just there, but then a new object there. So, width. No more width that way, is there? Right. Or height. Width. And then there's a few more down there. Width. Width. I'm not sure where the rest are, but I think the rest are all heights. So if we go back to level height, copy that, and plug in the height variable we just created. Don't need to use the get game height either. Just need to plug it in when we create the level. And it will all be plugged into these variables. A few more. And that's a lot. Alright. So one more. few more up there, but these actually need setting inside the constructor, I think. Instead of at the top, that would make more sense. Nothing else has been created at the top. Level clad time box, although that's not even in use. C time is. I don't know why waste time is not set. It's yeah, these should definitely be set on the constructor, I think. Let's set them there anyway. Start level height doesn't exist yet, so we need to move it. Alright, so need the width as well. Where's that? We want all of those. Copper. After the length. Paste. And then let's get rid of the variable in the comments. Yeah, so that's set in there. I just need to delete them at the top. Now we've got the right variables set there. And we could even move these to setup. Or even initiate if you want. So we don't crowd the constructor too much with things that don't need straight away. So you might want to create a level without these variables being initialized until the level's initialized. You might not need them till then, which might be a better way of doing it. So we've got the level setup variables here, but these aren't really needed till it's initialized. These are needed to initialize it, I think. Setup level 1. There's sort of things we could put in there, I guess. Although they're not going to change, so yeah, these are always going to be in the same place, regardless of what level. So after the switch statement there, just put them in there. So every time it's called, no matter what level, still going to unload these variables the same values. No point in putting them in setup level 1, because then you've got to put them in setup level 2 and all the rest as well. And some of these might need changing as well. Background starts. Did I actually use those in the render? doesn't look like it. No, the X's and the Y's, I think. Still 0. Well, we'll figure those out, but I think I was going to plug in start values for these and then just add the C times. Have these as already set to other variables. We've got quite a few the same on these Y's. Level height times 5 is quite common. And then we still need level height there. Level width plus 20. Missed a few out there. Level height times 5. There's a common Y. And then where would they go? So if I make background start Y level height times 5. Plug that in there. And there. And there. Start the background and the waves. Level height times 6 is common. And that's it. Alright. So I'll try and reduce the complexity of this code here and start employing some of the stuff we've done here. But these background star X and star Y, I don't think we're going to need to set them differently every time. I think the length of the level could be 5 or 6 at this point. We can plug that value in at a later date, but again, that won't change from level to level, and we can set that up at the start. The level height times 5 seems to be quite common. So turn that to a variable and move that variable up to here. And clear that up a little. Alright, so we've got our setup level 1, we've sorted out this get game height. And we need to move back into the enemy class and set that off, but we still got a problem in game here before we move on to enemy. Game as the get game width, get main height. It's the level numbers we need the same. I was just looking up. Copy. Alright, so it's level number. We need the width and the height. Then we need the length. And if I check, the length of our level currently is level background. Can't remember. 42,000 pixels. Copy. 42,000 in length in pixels is the size of our level uh, in the Y currently. What we need to do though is split this up into 512 size images. Speaking of which, I still not import the res. But yeah, we need the 512 by 512 version of the C, repeating until it fills that 4,200 pixels instead of having a 4,200 pixel length image. And we'll sort that out at some point, but basically it's a repeat plus the x times the width, no, x times the height, 512. We'll figure it out. So that's fixed up. He says, save. Alright, but we do need these resource packages. So I'm just going to copy those over and close that down so that key can't confuse. Paste. And we're back to where we started. Game design part 7. Got our resources and level icon sprites. Still got enemies to do with errors, but the rest is all clean code. Should work as previous. And we're not going to be using import today. We're not going to be using the GUI. We probably will have a look at these graphics because we've got problems. And we still got sound to do somewhat. Nip in there as well. Okay, let's get rid of these that we don't need. Player, we're going to update that image today. So that just needs saving out. But we also need enemy class opener so we can get around to this. So already we've got loads of errors in there, but if you notice from, if I can just fix this. Package 7 on the game, package 7 and game design. As I was saying, most of these errors are going to be because we haven't created the variables yet. Set them up. And I'm going to get a lot of these get main width. Get main width problems as well. Do we have game in there? We have game in there, so we can use the game version that we created. As long as it's public start, we should be alright with that. More variables to create. Another class to create. Another render in another class to create. Check collisions. Still got that to create. A tick in another class to create. Get all enemies to create. And a few lists, both in this class and another class to create. And a few booleans and integers. So we're going to have quite a bit of fun with this. Notice I'm only going to do the reds at this point. We'll move on to the greens and the golds afterwards in all different colors. Different kinds of aliens or enemies. And we'll try and do some fancy stuff with the attacks. Get them to move like chess moves. Each have a different move, you know. But anyway, let's start by Alright, that's not needed anymore, so I'm not referencing that. So, start from the top. Need to create some attributes. And the X's and the Y's, they're going to be created dynamically when we initiate. But we do need to create a static version just for testing purposes. So the X and the Y initial value of the very first enemy is going to be X25 and Y25, top left of the corner, top of the screen. Width and height are going to be 64, but we may change that. I know they're being put in the wrong place. Private's probably not good at this point, so although they will be, let's keep it simple, get rid of the private. We're not initializing them in the constructor, so it's not something we need to be reminded of that they're not private. We know that. We don't care at this point because we only want to use them in this class, but we maybe want to use them in other classes too. These might be global enemy X and global enemy Y, and different enemies might have different values for these. Width and height, same way. Scale, there's a double. Enemy speed, and that should be a double too, but leave it as an integer for the start. Left side, right side. Alright. But as we noticed in, oh no, it's the wrong class I was looking at. They say, as we noticed in player, we need a enemy image, but enemy is a superclass, so no images in this one. All directionless in them. Enemy ore is a new array list. We're going to have to plug some values in for that and import array list. Create a field out of enemy ore. Enemy red's going to be on list 2. It's probably not going to know what that is. Oh well. Enemy red initiate is part of the class enemy red, so we'll come back to that. Same with the render. We've got initiate, a render, and a tick. We need to get all enemies in this class. Create that method. Let's put it at the top, great. Set number of enemies. Enemy red rows. Make a field out of that. Enemy red attack. Make a field out of that. And now we need the X and the Y, which is NX and Y. Or is it, yeah, I think it is. Thought we set it up wrong, but where is it? Get balance. Alright. That don't know what it's doing, so enemy red is set up wrong at the top. That's a variable in the other class, a new class. As are these. as are they. Alright, so we're gonna have to create this new class in a second, but let's get this enemy red out of the way. So the first reference to is here, but that's all wrong. Enemy all is going to be an array list object of enemy objects, and enemy red. In fact, this is just list at this point, and it is util list, not alt list. And you do have to bring in both the array list and the list from util. Don't worry about the collection, we're not using maps at this point. And at this point, just to save another error, I'm just going to make that a list of enemies too. Right, so that is going to return the same. At this point, and maybe permanently in fact. But let's put these attributes down the bottom now. And add some comments. Oh, great. Can't work my keyboard now. Alright. So building up our variables now. And we still need to move that to the bottom. And we don't want it to throw an exception. We want it to turn a list of all enemies. I can't remember which variable we called it. Enemy all. Simple enough. Alright. Might have to be public, we'll see. These are all in the other class. Need some variables for each of those. Need to take the check collisions will be in there, as far as I know. Enemy red, different class. Alright. All the rest of these should be a reference to a different class we haven't created yet. And the variables we'll need in that, and probably every other class. Put that above that. We don't want any exceptions thrown. We're not returning anything there yet. We're not on collision detection yet, because we haven't got anything to collide with. That's what we're working on now. Move all, get bound, set attack, set number of enemies, tick, render, initiate. Alright, as I was saying earlier, all of these errors should be a reference to another class we haven't created yet, called enemy red, which needs an initiate, needs a render, needs a tick, needs a is dead variable, so on each enemy red object in the enemy red list. So it's got to be created with an is dead variable set and added to this list. Quite simple enough, but that's the logic in these entity classes. Also needs a move right. We need a touching the right hand side variable. Right side of the screen, the same for left. We need a direction set. We also need a move left. We'll probably use an up and down as well. We'll code them in as and when. And again, same variables there. Alright. So instead of letting Netbeans create this, I think I should do it. And then get Netbeans to make these modules up and variables. And then just go in and sort out all the mess it makes afterwards. It should be lots of fun. Alright. So what options does it give us on this one? Create class enemy red in the enemies package. Oh, that could work. And it saved me typing it. So yes please, why not? We now have our enemy red package. No class. But it should be public, I think. Instead of just class. Or is that am I wrong? Yeah. Public class, enemy red, save, extends, enemy, pretty sure about. Alright then. So this class extends the enemy, which we don't have to import because we're in the same package anyway. But enemy's got problems at the moment because we still need to. Do we need to import? No, we need to create these variables. So the modules that it wants to create. No, it's just all that in move all. Why is it not saying there's no render or tick? I've not saved this. Should be giving me errors that there's no initiate. But anyway, let's set one up. Enemy red. Give up public. Enemy red. constructor. And then just throw that in it and go back to enemy, need a render. Excuse me. Import those, close that. Anything else? Move right, move left, move down, file, hit, tick, then got tick, need a tick. These are sometimes called draw and update, but it depends whether you're working with foreigners code, American code, or I'm British, so we use the American render and tick, but some British people use the draw and update. So bear that in mind. If you're reading code and it come across draw and update, it means render and tick. Do the same things. Right, I do believe we need to get bounds. No, because all the enemies are going to be having the same bounds, I believe, unless we override that bounds in the class itself. But we do need a get all and a clear all, a fire and a hit, and then the moves. Alright, so in there we do have a get all. I'll just copy that over. List, yeah. Util list, that's right. Let's get all enemy red. Just so we don't get confused there, and then that is going to be the list we keep referencing in here in the move, which I've closed. Move on. Enemy red list. Okay, so that I need creating in there as well. That's the enemy red list, and it's referred to again somewhere in here in the tick. I thought it was updated there. Alright, we must update in the other tick in the red. We'll figure it out. Right. Need a get all and a clear all. In enemy red. So get all enemy reds. Then we need to clear all. And we could just call that get all, because it's going to be a public static. I believe public static. Yeah. And it's going to be referenced by enemy red anyway. And so is the clear all. They're going to be called by name. So we don't need to actually reference them as get all reds or clear all reds. Just get all and clear all. Then create that, so that's fine. And this get all is enemy red, not just enemies. They will be enemy objects because they extend enemy, but they are specifically enemy red objects, or instances of an enemy red object. That makes more sense. That's not returning the list, that's clearing the list. So public static void there on clear all. and then we don't need to return it. Oops. It's just enemy red dot clear, and again, because we're not created it, it's not gonna like that, but tough. Alright, we need a move down, move left, move right, and I'm gonna do them after the tick, and they are all public static voids, so move left, move right, move down. And we're going to need one to move up. Let's not kid ourselves. So let's say move left, move right, move up, move down. Okay. And our moves are all going to take arguments. Enemy reds. E red. Oh, yeah. Why not? So yeah, each of the move methods need the argument of a enemy red object, which will be in a list. So we'll be cycling through them when we move, or when we decide when to move and what to move. But we will need that argument in each one, because we're going to be using that to figure out what's moving and which way. Right, so that's basically how we're going to set up all our enemy classes. Got our constructor, it's going to have quite a few variables in it. Initiate, run the tick, move left, move right, move up, move down, get them all, clear them all. Have I missed anything? Hit and fire. Hit and fire. Okay. So along with the moves, we're going to have a module for being hit and a module for firing. So they're also going to need the same arguments. An enemy red object to fire from. So enemy hit, enemy fire. We're just going to call these hit and fire. Capital, lowercase. Fire. Alright, so after we've initiated and we've got our render and take sword, we can have our move classes, our hit module and a fire module, as well as our list sorting modules. Now with the list sorting modules, with the get all, these lists can get overloaded sometimes, and they forget to clear themselves, or they're not very good at the clear. Something to do with Java garbage collection. It's not very efficient, a bit like the cancel, you know. So what I like to do is set up a copy enemy red one list. That'll equal a new array list every time you want to get. Diamond operators, open and close brackets, close off. And then we're gonna do an int I equals 0, and then go for a for loop. Open and close, and then we do an int j equals 0, as j is less than enemy red size, current size of the list. and J++. Then inside the for loop it is gonna do the if check, which is a double check on the collisions. So it's enemy, I'll spell it right, enemy red dot get I, no, J, is dead equals false. Then we want to add that to the list. The new list. Enemy red one. Dot add. It's I. Then what we want to add. Close it off. It's I plus plus. We're not actually returning enemy red there, we're returning the new list. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Enemy red is actually going to be set to enemy red 1 because it's going to be the list that the get all is set to. We'll sort that out. I believe that's in the tick. But yeah, it will update and it will do it properly. That is clearing the right list as well, yeah. Alright, so we do need another list created. Alright, it's not got a array list already. No, because we're not creating any variables in here yet. Cool. Right, and we're still at the constructor to do. We've got our initiate, run the tick, move methods, hit fire. Do we need a setup? No. So in our constructor we need obviously an int for the x, int for the y. But we need a isDead boolean. An int for the direction. Then it's ID and color. Not sure if we need those in there. I think direction would be enough. Might need to set the ID or determine a particular ID. These are going to be created dynamically anyway, so depending on certain values we put through, like set number of enemies, so we'll figure this out. But inside this constructor then we're going to need this x equal x, same for y, width, height, and then the is dead. So width, height is going to be width of this, height of this. Oops, spelled that wrong. Set to n height, I think it was. And the width. Right. So there's the basics, but then we've got the additionals, and we've got the is dead variable. So this dot is dead obviously equals what's passed through is dead direction. This dot dir, which is the initial direction of travel, is going to be set to dir. And then we just need the ID. This ID equals capital ID. And this is constructed for enemy red currently. We might change it. We still need to set the attack up as well. So this attack will be set at some point. I think that goes into then we could add that on the end there. And attack. And this attack equals attack. We'll figure the rest of that out. Got a few variables to set, and we need some comments, so let's go grab some of them out of there. Notice I'm using the enemy X, enemy width from inside enemy. We're not actually setting them in. We will have to set them in there, in fact, if they're not already set. There we are. This will set them earlier, so that's where we'll start. Comments. Ready for these variables. Still need a few more. Links and a constructor. Save that. Add the parameters. X, Y is then direction. ID and method of attack, which I've not decided on yet, but basically one method of attack would be we set attack to 0, then the move left, the move right would all work as intended. We set attack to 1, then the move left, the move right, the object would then move diagonal left, diagonal right, and so. And maybe we'll have a circular motion on attack 3 or something like that. Then we could have some sort of algorithm with there's so many different enemies with the same attack in one space of the screen, then they can act in a certain way too. But that'd be like a group attack method. We're getting even more complex with the systems at that point, so don't get onto me about this. Just code this up. Alright, we've got clear all, get all, hit fire, moves, initiate render and take to look, and a few variables already set. And the initiate, let's see, can we do this? Yeah, I should use it enough. In the initiate these. We need to do a for loop. And inside the for loop, we're going to be in I equals 0, as I is less than enemy dot end red row. As long as it's less than that, I plus plus. Yeah, we'll figure that out in a minute. I'm not sure if I created that just yet. So rows, number of enemies, that's rows within this. There we go. Private enemy. Public. Save. But if we're setting that up like that, we might as well do the red attack like that. Instead of adding it to the... in fact, we can do that anyway, we're creating it dynamically, so it will work, trust me. I'm a scientist, I know what I'm talking about. So these are enemy red objects that we're creating. And we're gonna have to call them something, so red, and that's gonna equal new enemy red. It's gonna need a lot of arguments. So bear with me on the logic with this one. So it's gonna be ered underscore x. And then this is going to be dynamic, so we're going to need it's a y space 0 times 0 times I plus y space 1. Right. That will be the x and the y. This way, these will be set to a minimum distance, so each of the enemy red objects on that x will not occupy the same y. They'll be at least a certain distance away from each other. That's the logic in that. but that's the X and the Y values sorted. These are going to be set in enemy because they don't need an individual one for each of these. I don't think. We are going to spread them out across the level of 42,000 pixels, so there'll be quite a few, but at the moment I think we're just setting 10 here, and the rest are going to be zeros, I think. So right, X and the Y need a false for is dead. Is still alive, so direction we'll try 0 straight off. Then we need the I for the index, and we'll go for a 0 attack to start with, although that can be generated at random 0 to 2 or 0 to 3, depending on how complex and what the attack methods. Alright. Each attack method will come with, a separate bunch of code, so don't get too over ambitious with that. Just do some basics, I think. But that's how I would create a row of enemy reds on a specific X axis, but stretched out on the Y's. And we can vary this as well. It will be X plus a random number between 0 and the width of the screen. And then the Y's will definitely have the separators between them, because we don't want them next to each other. Occasionally we might want them next to each other, and we'll set that up in here. But this is where we're creating the enemy red objects with a space between them throughout the 42,000 pixel length of the level, which will take a certain number of game time, but we don't know what that is yet. But yeah, obviously a few variables to set up. Alright, moving on to the move variables, modules. We are going to skip render and tick at the moment. I'm just going to move on to these left and right, because I can copy and paste this code down very simply. So the logic here is we'll take the E red that's passed in, we'll grab its X value, and then we'll plus equals to end speed, which we might vary between the elements. Is it lowercase? It is. So plus equals end speed, which is already an integer, so that should help. Alright, so start coding in. Copy that. Move right is minus on the X. Move up. Hopefully it's plus on the Y. Wait. No, it's minus on the Y for up. I remember we got it wrong last time. It's positive on the Y for down. Copy that. And that's our simple move an enemy object. Plus on that one. Save. Enemy speed, is that private? Yeah, so need that as a public static as well. Maybe just public, as we're in the same class, extending this class, so don't need to start it. They should disappear. I'll find a symbol X to show. We'll get there. Fire and hit. So when we're firing, this will have to be commented out that it's going to be enemy bullet class, and then file with ERED parameter. But we don't have an enemy bullet class yet. We don't even have a bullet class, so that's going to have to be commented out. And that's in the wrong one. That's supposed to be in fire, not hit. So fire a new enemy bullet when that's called the hit. Need to do two things in the hit. And again, this one's going to be commented out. Enemy explode. We're going to fire off an enemy explode once the enemy's hit. And that's going to be enemy exterminate with our argument ERED. But again, we don't have any explodes yet, so enemy or otherwise, comment that out. And then we're just going to set ERED is dead equals true. Is dead should be part of enemy. Should it not? Strange. Okay. And the tick is simple enough. And we get that. Alright, so what we want to do in the tick is first of all update our list, which is here. Of our new list. Get on. Sorry, it's enemy red. Get on. Not to be confused with any other get on. Right. Enemy red set to a list of enemy objects, and it's also got private and enemy, so let's change that. Enemy red should be a list of enemy red objects. It shouldn't be private because we need it another class. Right. So that solved that one. That's reloading this list with the list of enemies from this list that aren't dead yet. Yeah. Once we've done that, we need to run the animation for enemy red. And that's going to be run render. But again, you know what I'm going to say, we don't have a animation class yet, let alone an animation variable, so we're just going to comment that out. But that's all you would do in tick there. You would update the list of how many enemies are left, put them in the list, run the animation, ready to render the animation here, which again is probably going to be a short list, but I do think we have to render the list of of enemies, so bear with me. Alright, simple enough and random. We need to check. We don't want any enemies on the screen at this point if the game is in a menu state. So go for game, get game, got menu, equals no. As long as there's no menu on the screen, then we'll fire off drawing some enemies. Then we need the for loop for the enemies in this list. And again, that's going to be an I let use it. 0, and it's I is less than. I've done that one. We're not using I's and ints here. We're using a list. Enemy red objects. And each one we're going to call ER1 as a single. And that's going to come from the enemy red list, which is enemy red part. So that's that for loop instead of going through I's. We don't need the I at this point. We're just going to go through each one. We only need to check if the isDead variable is true or not, which we're going to do now before we run anything. And this is going to be ER1 isDead equals false. And if it's not false, I want to render it out and then do the if show bounds. Alright, so the rendering out here is our animation. And then we need to render render that. But we need to pass a few variables in, obviously. Target for one, which doesn't work yet, but we'll figure it out. Then we need the X, Y, scale, width, and height. But we need to get all those from E1R. Copy, paste, paste, paste. In fact, that's not E1R. That's enemy. This should actually be N scale. Which is private and enemy, so we need to change that. And just get rid of the private altogether. Make it package private, is what Java calls it when it's got nothing on it. Now what's the problem? Can't find a symbol X, Y, non-static variable, N scale cannot be referenced from a static variable. Yeah, because the render's static, so it needs to be public static. Just to clear that up. Save that. Still references it's non-static. That's just creating new variables now. But like I said, we don't have an animation yet, so we'll have to comment this is the show bounds that we have in player. Uh, we'll put it back in if we need it. Show bounds in render method. Basically, it's just this piece of code here. But because we don't have animation, yeah, I'm gonna grab that G draw image as well, just to cheat. So our enemy red, we'll need all that code there at this point, even the color. And these need changing to these variables here, and we need to create an image for enemy red. At least a temporary one. We just need the width and the height. Okay, that solves that problem at this point. We can still get something drawn out on the screen. Is that right? Alright, so our show bounds. Again, we're not going to be using the player X, the player rectangle X. Wow. What? Alright, yeah, the same there. Right. And that's basically it. If game show bounds and set color yellow, draw a rectangle. There's two dots there, that's not good. Yeah, set color yellow, draw a rectangle to those dimensions. Set color green, draw oval to those dimensions. Which again has got two dots. Alright, so a few more variables to create there, but that's pretty much our show bounds, I think. Do a draw string on the air. Alright, and that'll be showing the ID. Show your ID. It's supposed to be red the ID. And red. And it needs an X and a Y. So let's grab these. And the Y needs a +4. Or is it -4? Just so it's above it. Slightly above it. That'll give us the ID Um, we need some if statements on there. So logic here is if e read the and red direction is equal to 0. And when I draw the string, another string, and that's going to be direction R. dir. Plus the x. This tells us it's traveling in that direction. It's at this x value. And these x's are going to have to be x minus 6, y plus 54. Then we do the else if for 1 for the left. Calling out the x again. We're going to have to do another one. Up. Oops. And finally, if it's not moving any of those directions, down. And again, I think all those values are the same. Yeah. Alright, so that gets the bounds out of the way. We obviously want all this information there for testing purposes, just to make sure that everything's working as it should. What is that to? Is that going to give me errors now? That should be the F. That should be that F. That should be the for loop. That should be the if statement. That's the end of the module. Great. That works for me. And that's our render class out of the way. Our show bounds is quite bulky in there, but it is just for testing purposes at this point. We need to know which ID is going off screen in the wrong direction and stuff like that. You know, just to figure out that makes it easier. This is a temporary line of code until we get the animation, and we're going to use this temporary variable to put some on the screen. But we're probably going to change this in the tick. So every other tick it's a different image. So we need 3 images set up just to do that, which is great work. But the rest is done, I think. Explodes and bullet fire, and we'll figure out. The rest is just creating these variables now. And then we should be able to get rid of some of the errors and enemy at the same time. Alright. Let's figure out what needs going in there. Well, in short, absolutely nothing. So I think it's all supposed to be an enemy. Alright, so our X and Y are already an enemy. We call them NX and NY. And the only X and Y that's actually referenced in there is in the parameter arguments this side of the fence. So let's call them what they should be. That's NX, that's NY. And they'll be set in each class with the same. The width and the height, they should be in there already. And then called N width and height. Copy those over. Right, no. I'm getting that bit wrong. Alright, apparently there is a width and a height as well as an enemy width and a height. Or W and a H anyway. So let's set them up width and height. It's this one. So we just have these as W and H as throwaway variables for width and height of each character we create. And we can have the M width and height set to whatever we want it to in the setup of enemies, I think it is. Just check that logic. Width and height 64, it's fine. And they're set to 64 now. But it doesn't like H. Let's find it now. Save that. Right, is that direction ID and attack? These should be in there too. We've got the old direction there. So it's enemy red direction I'm looking for. What did we use down there to reference it? In red direction. Copy and create that here if it's not already created. We've got the old directions there. Oops. Now we're going to end red direction. Which needs to be public stack. Save. And that's another error out the way. Or will be. Sure on the logic of that one. Where it's links in the move all and red direction. Yeah, this DIR should be that. Oops, that went a bit wrong. Should be that, which is here initially, but then changed here, I think, or determined here. Yeah, then we need to touch right and touch left here as well. But I believe they're in this class anyway. We'll come back to that. Okay. So ID and attack, we probably will have to create those. Just a little width there, I think. So that'll be ID, that'll be attack. I'm not sure any red direction needs to be static. But we'll see. Might give us some errors down there with it not being static. No, it's actually removed the errors around direction. That has now been set proper. Still need a touch in left and right. But onwards and upwards. Is that don't want any variables, and we're going to use all the ones from enemy, so and share them amongst all the enemy classes, especially the ones that are common, like, you know, right side, left side, direction. So is that boolean? Don't have a boolean. Alright, and that'll probably have to be public static though, why not? No, that's fine. And there we have our constructor for enemy red. So the X, Y, the width and the height. Width and the height from enemy. Is that direction ID method of attack. Alright. And don't need any attributes in that. Okay, that with the constructor. And a large amount of the attributes, but we've still got a few left there. The width and the height and that coming through. Yeah, these should just be W and H. X and Y is not X and Y, it's NX. ID, that should be fine. U red, UR1. Just the image on that one, I think. And again, I've used the E red instead of ER1. Thinking of another module there, I don't know what that was about. And they're all ER1s, I'll get that. Alright, use NX. And they're MYs. So is that. Alright, so that's how I run the class. All errors gone except the image mred. And to think about how the player class was set up. We actually did it in the constructor, but we're creating more than one player at a time, so that's not a good idea. I think if there's an initiate in there, we should stick it in there. Yeah, we're just about to create the rows of enemies there, so we only need it the once. Yeah, texture can be important. Let's change this image name for that one. And we need our new invader image in there. Make that a buffered image. And throwaway variable. What we see is we're doing the one, we might as well show some sort of animation too. And do two images and just go back and forth between the two. I'll put an if statement in the second image as well, but if I could do the second image in the if statement, I'll copy in the exact same location, do that one, but don't do them at the same time. So won't need that for the animation, but for here, just do if else. and this will be a system militant. Should about 450 percentage 25 equals 0, and show that first image. If not, show the other one, or draw the other one. Okay, so we need to put these in sprites. Oh, we got them already. 128 and 2A, so 128. Oh, we look at. So these are GD Invader, and this is -2, and that was 2A. Okay, so we've got our buffered image, so we need to import buffered image. And as I say, we need to create the variables, but they're created. Three variables there need to put into enemy class, I believe. They too need creating as variables. Great. Alright. Let's do that. The only variables are now going to be the buffered images. It's the only thing specific really to this class. Let's put them in the wrong place. Annoying. And we've got no comments, so saved. No, it's enemy red 1. So they're out the way, we've got 3 there to create. And a whole bunch of errors down the bottom of end speed. Alright, let's look for X. On the E red, we should be looking for NX and NY. It still seems to have a problem with end speed. Now we need to create the enemy red 1 list in enemy, so we're just going to duplicate that one. Solve that problem. Yep. And that's the get all, clear all, so on. End speed is still a problem. Non-static. End speed. Alright. That should be that out of the way. Any more errors? 1 to go. 1 line of code to go. Okay. Let me just check what these values should be, but I think they need to be created in enemy. I know that. And they need to be public static ints. Let's start with that one. Give them some comments. Okay. Excuse me. And these need to be set. In fact, we need the Y as well. I mean the X. Uh, that's that line of code sorted. But we still haven't added these to the list here in the initiate, so I'm figuring we've skipped a line or I've missed it, I've not put it in. I moved on to something else. I did. Okay. So we need the list. Well, these won't get recognized anywhere. It's just to add URID. Okay. So initializing our images once and then initializing every enemy object with the variables. But at the moment these are not set. So do need to go in and set those. But I believe that's done in the setup. Bear with it. Yep. Alright, so these may need to change, but set up the X and the Y in here. Give that 25. Not 45. Give 48. And then we need to set up the X. And that's going to be 70 at this one. These values may all change or will have to be reconfigured. These are values I use for a different object Space Invaders game. I think the width and the height were 40 by 40 and these are a different size, so I have to bear with us on that. Enemy scale, we set that. Alright. Why have we got all these errors down there? Can't find the X because we're not using X. just really confuse things in the code. We're calling it NX. But alright, use NX. We've used it there, so just have to remember that in the code. Probably rename it at the top here after I've done all this. No more exits. Directions. Alright, now what problems do you got? Non-static variable left side, right side, can't be referenced on static. Alright. So anything else? Non-static. We haven't got a move right and a move left in there. We need to sort those out. But we now have no errors in this class enemy red. So in theory that would run, and we draw our animation out as well and show our bounds. Just wouldn't run the animation because there's none in existence. It wouldn't explode if it was collision detection. It wouldn't fire a bullet if fired. But yeah, moving on. That's our enemy red. Add operand types for less than right now. Yeah, I'll come back to that one. Let's do a move right. Create a method in here, move right. We create down here. Now it's creating an enemy red. So we'll have to create that. Move left in here. And touch left, touch right, you decide. So let's take these both there and make variables out of them. Alright, so they're gonna be booleans. I think there might need to be public static. Save. It's gonna have errors in there. No. Figure that out in a minute. Non-static. Great. Alright. They have to default start for false as well, because we're making sure they don't start touching the sides. Right. let's just take that line of code out. That's the only thing stopping us testing it. We'll figure out your problem in a minute. Move right, move left, and enemy has been put at the top as usual. Save, set to the bottom. Gonna be able to check collisions. So move left, move right. These are gonna be enemies. Or enemy reds, could be any of them. We'll just call them M's. Do want to copy it down. So move left. Need an F. We're not in pause mode. Paused. No variable again. Not end touch left. Which is a global, I guess, for all enemies touching left. Then we want to move it, but we need to find out if M is an instance of enemy red. And if it is, enemy red dot move left with N. Because it might be an instance of another class. End touch left don't exist, so we'll create that. Create paused in game. Back to enemy. Let's pause that out of the way, should be. And end touch left will create in here. Save that. If an instance of shouldn't be needed for a close bracket there then. Right. Got to cast this in. Great, there we go. Yeah, got to cast this in as enemy red. Save that. Variable decoration is not allowed there. Don't want it. Add import for a on repository. That same code I've got somewhere else. Public static void. Right. That make a difference. And that's touching right. How bizarre. That's supposed to be an orange. Try typing it again. Oh, still not recognise that. Oh, I'll have to come back to that one. Basic logic is if it's an enemy red, then move left on enemy red using that argument. Create field touch right. It's because I've done the capital O. It's a lowercase o. Instance of. I wonder why I won't go on orange. Yeah, so if it's an instance of enemy red, move left on enemy red. I know what I'm going to do now. Copy these down for 2 more. But this is going to have to be else's. Else's. And that's enemy green and gold. Alright, so that'll sort those out. But we don't have those classes yet, and those classes will be identical to this one once we've completed it. So there's no point in trying to create them now. We might as well wait till we've got all the code in there. That's enemy move right. Says enemy move right. That's enemy move left because we've got the left already there. Enemy move right, we move right. Move right. Right. Can public static. 2 more to go. And I'm just going to copy this down. To create the up and down. And again, it's the same logic, but let's move up. And move down. And it's not going to be touching right or touching left. It's going to be touching edge of the screen at the bottom, I think. And touch edge. up. If it's not touching that edge. I don't think a move up needs a barrier. Just move it up if it's not paused. And create the touch edge. Save. There's two ways we can get rid of these errors. Is enemy green and gold. Is create empty classes in our enemy package. Ready to copy and paste the enemy red code into it and change it for different images and different movements and stuff. Or we can just comment it out in the move classes there. I think it's cheaper just to create them, tell the truth. And then we need to figure out why this is not working or whether it's needed. And these can be uncommented as well when we create those other two classes. Just trying to think if there's any more errors in here. I think they're the only ones left, so creating those classes will get rid of those. Grab these and move these out of the way. And these are going to have to be set to false as well, I think. And that should sort that out. These aren't all level numbers though, let's sort some of these out. Alright, N, X, N, Y. That might be too confusing. Let's do a refactor on NX and rename it. Similar to X. And refactor that. And do the same with NY. Refactor, rename, and just call it Y. That's a bit confusing. It doesn't follow the same convention in the width and height. These width and height are okay. We're going to set them to start with and then add them to width and height individually. Right, as I was saying, this is X, Y, and width, and height, width, height, ID, type of attack is dead boolean, and scale, and speed, left side, right side, all direction, and red direction, enemy all list, enemy red list, enemy red one list, and red rows, and red attack, Y space 0, Y space 1, E red X, and red touch right, and red touch left, and touch left, and touch right, and touch edge. That was simple enough. How many errors got left and why? We've got errors because we haven't created the new classes yet. And if we create new classes, we might as well uncomment all those and copy and paste the code in as well. Start by creating these variables, I think, and then move on to getting rid of these. So 2 new classes coming up. Let's start with these variables because they're going to be in this class anyway. Create field, create field, and green attack field, and gold attack field. Save. Right, all that's left now is to uncomment these. And create the classes, I think. Don't want those final little the warnings, so I'm just going to turn those public. Save, and 3 classes to create now. The enemy red code, which we have here, pretty much going to be identical in each one. We're just going to be changing the color red to the different colors we've got there. But then we're going to lead to creating more lists in the enemy, and the directions are going to be needed. Sounds like that'll work. So we're going to need these 2 again. Twice. And these are going to be green. Copper. Green. And these are gold. Alright. Red, green, gold, left, right. Okay. Gonna need X value for each. And again, just green, gold. So all that done. Attack some rows. And again, green, gold. Why is that got a problem? They already exist. Okay. Already created those 2. And I probably already created the attacks as well. They just put at the top or right at the bottom of that. No, they're up here. Alright. So the rows and the attacks are done already. Not sure what's left. The lists. We need 2 lists for each. And again, these aren't going to be enemy reds. Enemy green. Green. Gold. 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 Green. And green. That's for the get all and clear methods. We need those 2 lists. And we also reference the objects from those lists in this class as well. In red direction, that's going to be needed. And again, green, gold. Just fixing up the comments, save it doing it afterwards. We've already got enough classes with dodgy comments on, so save myself some work there. I believe that might be the full set. Directions, right side, left side, speed, scale, the rest are global. So let's go. And we need this code here. Starting from there, I'd say right down to the bottom. Copy. Right, I'm tripling up the number of enemies at this point, so creating another class in the enemies package called enemy green, and accept all those, and grab that, and paste that, accept all the imports, and let's close that off. Right, so it looks like and there's no errors whatsoever because all these variables already exist and we're extending enemy. Trouble is all the red bits in there need to be changed. That's not enemy red, you see. That's enemy green. Right, and all these need to be changed as well. Green. Don't need any of those important. Netbeans doing some dodgy work there. And that's the enemy green class created. Let's create the enemy gold. And set that. And this time don't forget the final bracket. Okay, on the imports. Again, it's not all red, it should be gold. And the main problem with that is here. Gold. Save. And the initiates here as well. Gold. gold, 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 and these are all golds as well. And the E words need change into golds. It's going to be gold direction. They're going to be enemy gold images. That's going to be enemy gold. Let's use quite a bit down there. Enemy gold. Enemy gold 1. Enemy gold, enemy gold. Enemy gold 1. Enemy gold. Enemy gold 1. Enemy gold. Alright, on left. Gold. That's fine. And that's enemy gold rows. Enemy gold X. And their enemy gold as well. Which that's gold. It's them enemy golds. Oh, I think that's all our errors now. Maybe not. Private access. And that needs to be gone. Enemy gold rows private. Should all be public stack on these rows. And probably for the attacks as well. Save that. Back to gold. No errors in gold. But that don't mean I've changed everything from red to gold. It just means there's no errors, such as the comments here. And here. And again with the dodgy imports. Courtesy of Netbeans. Ah, really should have put the comments on these in enemy red and then copy them over, but you live and learn. So gold, 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 gold. Still got a red here. Enemy bullet fire, that's the same. That's gold. Enemy explode, exterminate, that's the same. End speeds global. E golds. E gold. Enemy gold. Using the X and the Y's. End goal direction. ER ones. BEG ones. Oh no. Gotta do it now. Alright, so those done. EG ones. Enemy gold, gold, enemy gold. The global, enemy gold. Yeah, that's fine. In here we're using enemy gold rows. We need to be using enemy gold attack here, and in red as well. We do actually set it somewhere here, and enemies even. Enemy red attack, right? Enemy gold attack. So let's get the attack from here. It's going to be enemy red attack, same as the red rows. So let's copy that over to gold and change that to gold. Save. All sorted. Yeah. Happy with that. Save. Why are we still getting errors? Because I forgot to copy this on the direction. Simple enough. And here it's not in red. It's in gold. And gold. And EG ones. Right, use that out. I believe so. But yeah, still need to change that. And the green. That'll be green attack. Green rose. Copy that. Green. green, more green, 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 more green, 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 more green. Start with a render. Any green direction. Enemy green, enemy green, enemy green, run render. Use raw enemy greens. Auto reference to right gun. Quiet. Hold on, yeah. Still plenty of red. Green, green, green direction. Green, 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 green. GR found. All reference in green. Apart from these. Yeah. That's green up to render. And green all the way. We now have no errors in our enemy class, and I'm scared to click play. because I know I'm gonna come up with an error somewhere. But we've got three rows of enemies, and I've no idea with the X values are set. Oh, we're even setting the X's. These X's are. Yeah, it was set one. So we might as well set them all. And then M27 and 37. Let's give them a bit of space. They're all going to use the same image at the moment, so I think that's testable now. Yeah, we're all using the same image. Sprites. Theta 2, 128 version. But it's in red, so we need to make a green and a gold version. I'm just going to change the outline of this here. Maybe use different colors on the lights. Just give it a different effect. Yeah, that's our current animation. We need to do a green version and a gold version. That shouldn't be too hard. Just change one or two things there. Alright, got our X and our Y's. Left side, right side. Is that still giving us jet? Where was that? An enemy, wasn't it? What's it saying now? Still don't like the logic. Even if I put that back. What if I put them in brackets? Would that help you? You awkward sausage. No, you just want to be fucking awkward. The same ones I normally use, greater than, equal to. Or if it's that one. Alright, back to no errors. Don't know what that's all about. And I think it's about time we click play. You've seen enough of me coding today, though. Let's have a look. Are we gonna get enemies on the screen? Are they gonna move? Will my computer ever show me what this looks like? Without taking 10 minutes at the start, just to figure things out. Right, why are we in game zone 4? No, we've not changed something. No point or an enemy 2005. Add all enemy reds. Why is enemy red not initialized? in the initial hours. It's in the tick. Um, Ticking, then adding all to the list. And we've missed a setup variable. Oh, something wrong here. Initiating enemy reds here, but we're not initiating the other two either. So let's try that. I don't think that's going to change a thing now. I think this enemy red's got a problem. Mm. The initial list need to be set. It can't be null. I'm just trying to find an example now. Copper. These first ones can be null because we're creating them on the fly. But these lists here, the original lists, they need to be set. Just like that. We've already told it's going to be a list of specific enemy types. So let's try again. No errors. Absolutely brilliant. But no enemies on the screen either. Not sure what's up with that one. So we should have about 10 enemies on the screen. Alright, so where are we setting enemies? Set number of enemies. That should be in level. I think we forgot to uncomment a few lines in level concerning enemies. Setup level 1 should be 10, 10, 12. But in enemy we do need to triple up the move on the move all. And that means in the tick where we're adding these to the list, we need the rest too. So they can all be moved. And that's the green list. And that's the gold list. Already rendering, initiating. On the initiate we need the same. The X's and the Y's. It should work, but I'm not sure about its scale. Where is scale being used? It's not. On the render it's being used. But these images should still come up. Fader 2A. Oh, sprites. That should be that one. XY width height. The only thing I can think is the width and the height's not set. And width and height. 64 by 64 X is 25 and 25 on Y. Are these being initialized right? Let's go now. Do a system print line and find out what's going on. Who read X. Do the Y and do whatever else. ID. So this be the Y. Oh my god. ured.y and do the ID. ured.id. Alright. So XYID every time a new red's created. Should be after the level's loaded. There we go. All on 7 now on the X. Should put them around here. The Y is 128. That's using width and height, that's using W and H. Does that make a difference? Don't understand if they're coming out of those variables. Why they're not on the screen. I know why it is. It's because we're not rendering out the enemies at this point. We are creating them. But as you can see, the textures aren't loading. They are there. They're loading there. Initializing enemy objects. We're probably not rendering them out, which is a level issue. And it's a render issue. Render in the background. Enemies are rendered out in screen. Along with the level. Oh, they are being rendered. So why are they not being rendered on the screen? Just render level first. Because the player's on top of the level. Bizarre. Alright, let's try using one of these. See if that's where the problem lies. Maybe this equation is a bit of a mess. No. That's pretty bizarre. Menu equals null, is that the problem? Still no element. Strange. It's using the same G2D to draw out the image. As our render now. Where is our render now? There's no render now, it's in game. Game. Yeah. Don't think we need to dispose the G2D, so it's created out the G, and the G is created every time, which is probably a bad idea, like, but the same with the graphics. Don't believe that was the problem, like, but we have issues, and it's not long enough to do with those. Faults on the is that result X, Y is the direction, should still be on the screen. 64, 64. That's right, then we're not setting up those values before we start. Oh, it's still not there. Enemy setup is being called there. Initiate is not being called at all. Terrible. So enemy initiate, I believe, is called in level. We're not calling it yet. Yeah, enemy initiate is called in level. after the enemy is created, just before the backgrounds level. Enemy initiate. New enemies. We render an enemy from earlier. No. Enemy tick. How bizarre. Enemy. Render. If pause time equals 0, then render these. You know what? It's not rendering. Because pause time is not set, I don't believe. Or pause time is set to 150. So that was a good find. Hello. Now we have enemies on the screen, and we have some movement, and we've got a large row that's separated by a gap. Whoa. We are getting there. Not very well, but we're getting there. Is that going to touch the edge and turn around? No, it's just going to keep going. I don't know what these things are doing, but down to 14 frames per second with that many enemies on the screen. I think it should be 5 or 6 at the most. But yeah. Oh, we got animation as well. Terribly timed animation, but it does flip between the images. Oh, quite amazing. Yeah, love that. The Y gap, I think it's 4. That needs to be increased to make those different. Why have we got 10? These are golds and greens. These don't move. They're the reds. Alright, so set number of enemies. Yeah, I knew it was the port time. The set number of enemies in the level. What? It's in the initiate, I'm sure. No, set up level 1. Yeah, so we're setting a number of enemies here, so we only want a small number of each, 4, 5, and 3 of those, and that's 2. And we'll figure out the rest from there. But yeah, I think that's going to be enough for today. We've added 3 more classes. Number of classes gone up by 3. And with enemies with animation and movement. All crap at the moment and really do need sorting out, but yeah, this is the game so far. Obviously these bands won't be showing, I just use those to get an idea what's going on. Yeah, because they're using the same images, I did think these were enemy reds, but they are enemy greens and enemy golds. See by the ID and the direction, there's right at the moment, but there is no move right program. Gotta move left on this one. But we need to tell it when it's touching the edge there, you need to move the opposite direction. And same on the right. But yeah, these X and Y values will actually start up the screen. So they'll come flying in from different angles towards the main character there when we've figured out how to do that. But yeah, that's our game so far. If I still got 18 frames per second, I can shut off the bands in game. false. Save. One thing we need to do with show bounds is create a view menu in the main menu, and have show bounds, show FPS, show UPS, and show game time as options on those. And that way you can just click the menu item at the top and change them from there while we're playing. It's not to play at the moment, but there's no game logic in that. But there's our invaders, our sources. If you just imagine shooting them and them exploding, that's where we are. And frames per second has gone up with that because the bounds is quite intensive with that amount of text on each one. It's updating every time. We can get rid of the system print line art that we created, and enemy reds. But yeah, we've got animated enemies that move. We have made some progress here, but it took us finishing the enemy class and creating 3 more types of enemies. Before the next one starts, I'm going to try and create a green and gold version of these, and maybe a different version of bullets for these as well. But that's the game so far. I love these clouds, they look great. But yeah, we have animated invaders. They're painted on top of, but when a collision is detected, it won't really matter if they're on top or not, or appear on top. We've still got our upper clouds to add to the effect. The player and the enemies are flying through the clouds, and the clouds are not just miles below. They are all around. Will be idea. We need to put a game score up here, I think, and maybe a player name across the top. And we may need to make this see-through or invisible, one or the other. But yeah, if we turn off the opaque on that, that might still show the text. We can try that now. Status bar, GUI. And just in the set opaque through there, if we turn that false, hoping that'll be transparent and still see the text, but we won't need to set the foreground to the background to grey if opaque is see-through. No, it's opaque is not transparency, it is painted or not painted. Would appear to be the case. It's watching them invaders go off the screen. Yeah, so that doesn't make a difference though. That's just me messing about. But as you can tell by the new missions, it's fucking 20 to 2 in the morning, so I really should get some sleep, but I really wanted to get this out of the way. That's pretty cool, that is. If I change that X to say initial X, E red X in anime. From 70 to 170. That should stay on the screen a bit longer. There we go. So yeah, don't know if they're moving at the right speed at the moment, but they are definitely moving. We've only got a left in at the moment. No right, no up, no down, no diagonals. So they do need to be programmed in. When we're setting them up, we don't necessarily want to set them apart on the Y, we might want to set them apart on the X. So that's something to think about for next time, but yeah, that's where we are at this point. We've got invaders, and we'll soon to have red, gold, and green invaders. Let's see if we can get that animation moving a bit faster. I remember how we did it last time. Bring that down to 50 perhaps. And maybe percentage 2. These won't really matter in the end because we're going to animate with the render, which will create its own system time minute. That's a bit faster. These should be the other way around. That should be enemy 1, red 1, and that should be the other. But I'll have to change that in the other classes as well, enemy green and gold. That could work. I think these odd numbers are a problem. But yeah, as I was saying a minute ago, if we get a view menu up here, that's a bit better. Maybe a little fast. So that's 12. Yeah, if we get a view menu at the top, we can do the bands and that on there. Show the FPS. I think we've established the code on that enough now to be able to just add it to a view menu. I know edit should become first or options should become first, and we can create that menu with that option, but we're not on any menu system at the moment apart from the main menu. But yeah, an option for next time is the view menu and show bands, show FPS, show game time. And this player really does need rendering on top of the enemies. I'm not happy with that order of rendering, that is unnatural. Where are we? Level. Render. Screen. Yeah, the enemies are rendering after the player. It looks a little odd. The player wouldn't be above, or at least on the same level. Let's try that. The enemies were also going on top of the lives, and that is also a bad look, which I didn't notice and wouldn't have noticed if we didn't program some sort of movement in. But they should go under the lives left. When the character flies into them, they should really be still seen. I know, and they should be under the extra lives like they are now, as opposed to obscuring them. And it's good that the player goes under the extra lives and not over the top as well. But that would be a bad look. But yeah, that's quite a brilliant looking game at the moment. Nice bright colours and reasonable quality graphics. We'll look at performance and maintenance throughout this project, and I'm not happy with the 20 frames a second. we do know how to fix it. We need to stop rendering out all these extra pixels on the cloud layer and the waves and such, and separate these islands into separate images, and then just throw them on a screen in a random way, like they are placed at the moment. It should work pretty well. Yeah, very pleased with that. Let's set that up as 5. I think we're on 600 on the work front. There we go. I'm not sure about the move speed, but they should move quicker than that. I think we've got a timer on it. Let's move, then stop, move, then stop. Yeah. Each one of these roads will have a different chess move attack to attack the player with. But we've not figured those out yet, but we do need to think about kind of movement. One movement is going to be straight left, right, up and down. I don't want to be diagonal. And then maybe we can get some circular motion on some of them as well. Follow the leader in a circle type thing. Before moving across the screen, then diagonally down towards the player. You want them to mess about up here a little first when they first come on the screen. Firing at the character. Before they dive bomb the character, I guess. Or the character's last position, wherever that would be on the screen. But we'll do a get X and a get Y for the player. And we'll figure that out with some maths. But yeah, that's the game so far. Looking good. And what are we on now? I did 3 classes, so 14 number of classes. Not too bad. Probably good 1,000 lines of code. Maybe more. Maybe 2,000. But yeah, we have sources. Animated sources that move. Now player flies above them. And they fly below the extra lines. Same as the player. We gotta fix that. Alright, we'll be back anyway. I really could watch these clouds and waves for hours, man. That's pretty cool. Anyway, see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.